Hello class, my name is Neil Ferrari. I'm your instructor for this month, and I wanted to go over the first assignment for you because there's several things going on. The first assignment consists of three parts, and the three parts are you're going to have some vocabulary, which you see on the screen here. These are account names, and you're being asked to find definitions for them. You can do a search on the internet for accounting terms, or go to investopedia.com or accountingcoach.com or any other source that you wish to use. But you're going to be required to create a Word document, list each account on that document, and provide a definition for each. In addition, you need to decide which financial statement each account can be found on. Some of the accounts are found on the balance sheet. Some of the accounts are found on the profit and loss statement. If you haven't already watched the week one audio lesson for the online students, you may find that to be helpful. All right, so that's part one. Part two is that you're going to create a company in QuickBooks, which is an accounting software package. There are directions on the platform for you to get a login for QuickBooks, and you need to do it as soon as possible. It may take up to 3 days before you get a login. Some of the information you may need in order to get your login is listed in part two. And so you're going to create this company, and in the process of creating the company, you're going to need to make sure that the 15 accounts that are listed in part one are included in what's called your chart of accounts. In part three, you're going to record a journal entry. The journal entry is to reflect the president of the company giving the company $20,000 cash in return for common stock. So what I want to do is to run you through how to do some stuff on QuickBooks, and I have it pulled up here. This is a sample company. When you create your company to get your login, it's going to ask you for some information. You may not have all the information set up at that time, but you can certainly come in here, and if you'll notice, there's a plus button on the top right, and there's a gear. Okay, these are the two sets of menus. So if you click on the gear, okay, you can see there's one that says Account and Settings. Okay, if you click on that, you're going to find your company name that you're going to create is going to be here. You're going to have some information you need to fill in, like an EIN number. Okay, you can make one up. Tax form, the directions tell you to use the corporate tax form. As far as an email, if you have to put one in, then just go ahead and use your Full Sail email. Address, make one up, okay? And the edit button is over on the right-hand side for each section. So when you click on it, you can go ahead and fill in the information you need. Okay, now I mentioned the chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is a listing of all the accounts that you currently have in your company. And you have to have accounts because that's how you're going to record transactions. So if you click on the gear button, you're going to find over here under company, there's something that says chart of accounts. And when you click on it and go ahead and click on see your chart of accounts, you're going to find a listing of all the accounts you currently have in the system. Now mine has dollars amounts in them because this is a sample company. But let's pretend for a moment that one of the accounts listed in part one of the assignment is not included in this current list. Then you're going to have to add it. And so there's a button up here that says New, and it's going to give you a template to put some information in. The two most important pieces of information are the name of the account and the account type. So I'm going to set up an account called Cash. So I'm going to type in cash, and then I'm going to go to where it says account type. When I click on the down arrow, you can see you have a lot of different possibilities. So I want to run through them with you so that you have an idea as to what each one is and which ones you can use and which ones you cannot. The first one listed is accounts receivable. Now, QuickBooks uses this account type behind the scenes, and it's something that you should not use. If you do set up an account with accounts receivable account type, you may not be able to change or edit the account, in which case you're going to have to go in and set up a brand new account with a slightly different name. So don't use accounts receivable. Other current assets. All right, an asset is something you own that has value. An other current asset is something you can convert into cash in 1 year or less. So think in terms of prepaid expenses, inventory, things along that line. Bank. Bank is the account type you use for any cash related account. That could be petty cash, checking, savings, or just the word cash. Fixed assets. Fixed assets are, again, assets. Those are something you own that have value. And a fixed asset is something that you're going to use for more than a year. Think in terms of vehicles, computer equipment, maybe warehouse equipment, buildings, things along that line. Other asset. This is not something you're going to need this month, but basically it's an asset, which is something you own that has value, that doesn't really fit in the other categories. Accounts payable. Accounts payable is just like accounts receivable. It's one that QuickBooks uses behind the scenes, and you're not to use it. If you do use it, then you may not be able to edit the account. Credit card. You're not going to need this one this month, but a lot of companies have corporate credit cards for their employees, and they may set up the account so it goes into this account type called credit card. Other current liabilities. Okay, a liability is something you owe. A current liability or other current liability is a bill that you're going to have to pay in 1 year or less. A long-term liability. This is a bill you're going to have to pay in more than a year. So think in terms of loans or mortgages or something along that line. Equity. This is the net worth of the company. This is where you'll find all the accounts that deal with stock. So you have one account you have to set up called common stock, and that will use this account type called equity. Now, from equity all the way up to accounts receivable, all these account types are found on the balance sheet. But we also have a second financial statement called a profit and loss statement. So if you scroll on down, you're going to find you have some more accounts listed here. Any revenue account or income account is going to use the account type income. Other income you're not going to need this month, but that would be some source of revenue that is odd and unusual for your company. The best example of that is if the IRS pays interest on an overpayment you made. That's not a normal transaction. Cost of goods sold. Your company that you're setting up this month provides the service. They do not sell a product. Therefore, there's going to be no cost of goods sold. You are going to have expenses, though. Expenses are costs. So things like payroll, utilities, depreciation, things along that line. Other expense you're not going to need this month. Other expense is for an expense that is not normal for the business. So from income down to other expense, these are all found on the profit and loss statement. Okay, so our account was cash, and the correct account type for cash is bank. So I'm going to go ahead and click bank, and then the detail type, whatever comes up, just leave it. You don't really need to change it. Down here where it says balance and it's blank, leave that blank, okay, because you have a startup company, so none of your accounts have any balance. So make sure that stays as blank. When you're done, click the Save and Close button. Okay, so that account's now been set up, as you can see here. Now, when you do assignment 1, it's quite likely that some of the account types you set up are going to be wrong. And so if you need to fix them, you can do the same thing here. You'll go into the gear, find the button that says Chart of Accounts. This is what's going to come up. And over here next to the View Register, if you click on the down arrow, you're going to find an Edit button. If you click on it, you're going to be right back into the same template that we were just in. So if you have the account type wrong, what's going to happen is that I'm going to give you grading notes that's going to say the following accounts have the wrong account type and need to be changed as noted. And I'm going to tell you cash should be bank. So you'll go into cash, you'll go ahead and find the correct account type, click it, and say save. Now it's imperative that you get the account types correct. So if you have any errors from assignment 1, you're going to need to fix those before moving on to assignment 2. Now there is go-to training on the first campus class day of each week, as well as the second class day of each week, as well as the last class day for each week. A whole listing of the go-to trainings is going to be put on the platform. You're welcome to, if you're in the online class, to attend any or all of them. If you're in the campus class, you'll be required to attend them. Now, the final requirement for this first assignment is to do a journal entry. So if you come to the plus button on the top right, if you go under Other, you're going to see something that says Journal Entry. Okay, a journal entry is one of 3 ways you can put information into QuickBooks. The second way is using a customer transaction, and the third way is using a vendor transaction. For assignment 1, you're going to do a journal entry. Now, you have a requirement here, and the requirement is that you must have at least 1 debit and 1 credit. So that means for every transaction, you're going to have 2 accounts. So if you click on row 1, column 1, there's a down arrow, and when you click on it, it's going to give you all the accounts that are in your chart of accounts. So let's pretend we're taking out a loan. So when I borrow money from the bank, I'm going to get cash. So I'm going to select cash, and I'm going to put in here $1,000, and I might even put a description, bank loan, SunTrust. Okay, I don't need to fill in the name column, but I do need to have a credit now. Now the reason I debited cash is the way you increase an asset and an expense account is with a debit. The way you increase a liability account, an equity account, or an income account is with a credit. Now we took out a loan, so a loan is actually going to be a liability. So if I go to row 2, column 1, and click on the thing here, I have a search bar I can use. I have loan payable. Okay, that's the one I want, loan payable. And you'll notice that QuickBooks automatically put the $1,000 in the credit column. Okay, my journal entry is now complete, and the only thing I have to do is hit the Save button on the bottom. And that journal entry has now been saved. One other thing I want to show you, let's exit out of here, is that you have to run various reports. And you're going to find on the left-hand side there's a button that says Reports. Now, the most common reports you're going to have to run are the balance sheet and profit and loss statement. But if you scroll on down, you're going to find there's a lot of different reports here. And the directions for each assignment tell you what you need to run. For instance, in assignment 1, you're going to be asked to run the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement, the general ledger, and the chart of accounts. Okay, which is located. Well, obviously passed by it, but you'll find the chart of accounts is listed in here as well. I'm at a loss to find it right this second, but you'll be able to locate it by scrolling through the listing of account or report types. And what you'll need to do is run that report as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the balance sheet. Okay, the only thing you have to do is click on it. And what QuickBooks is going to do, we don't want to customize the report. It's going to give you the balance sheet, which is going to be a listing of your assets, your liability accounts, and your equity accounts. Now, you can't turn in what you see on the screen. It's not going to work. What you're going to have to do is export this report. And there's a nifty little button up here that has a little arrow in it. And when you click on it, there's an option that says Export to Excel. And when you click on it, that balance sheet is going to be automatically put into Excel. It's the Excel reports is what you're going to submit for the assignment. So you have to save this Excel file, and on the assignment I give you some naming sequence you can use. And when you go to put the assignment onto the platform, you'll just simply upload the reports that are required. Okay, so very simple process. I will have a go-to training to go over this again during the first week, but I wanted to go ahead and show you here in this video, which will be attached to the assignment. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You'll find my contact information on the platform. So there you go. That's assignment 1. Thank you for watching.